Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a couple different topics here. We're going to start with James K. finally giving us an update on the library versus SEC case. Senator Toomey has a little, I think, an insightful tweet thread here, but I want to have a conversation on kind of what's being stated here in regards to the Bitcoin ETF being denied. Johnny Deaton's responding to Jake Travinsky in regards of Gary Gensler's enforcement actions when it comes to chairman of the SEC. Digital Asset Investor puts up this great video here from Fast Money here. It's kind of referencing how they're talking about a Lehman moment for crypto narrative, and he's talking about what they're trying to push in regards of creating this reality with words. Blockworks update says Voyager to temporarily suspend trading deposits, withdrawals, and loyalty rewards. And then Jeremy Hogan's responding to Yasan Mobarak here, and they're talking about extortion. They're talking about how BlockFi ended up like settling with the SEC for 100 million, but now they're talking about potentially being sold for 25 million. I think that's quite interesting. We're going to kind of cover that there. Bitcoin Archive says just a new spot Bitcoin ETF application filed by Van Eck. And then we're going to end on a Brian Armstrong tweet that I want to have a conversation about. But coming over here to CoinGecko quickly, we're currently still under $1 trillion market cap. We're currently sitting at 909 billion. Currently at 1.6% for the last 24 hours. Bitcoin is currently sitting at under 20,000 at 19,386. Ethereum sitting at 1,066. Coming down here, XRP is under 32 cents, currently sitting at almost 31.5 cents. If we look at the top 24-hour gainer, Terra Classic USD is up 28%, Cosmo Hub 13.8%, and so on. Some small gainers there. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear Green Index, we're currently sitting at 11. So we see we kind of been ranging, right? Kind of going up and down, but we've been closing here at this 11. So it's good to see that we're in double digits. We're not back at 6, as you know, like we've seen it not too long ago, but we're still in this extreme fear range. So there's still a lot of market uncertainty happening, and we're still trying to find this so-called bottom so we can have some sort of bounce or reversal out and go back onto our bull cycle to kind of get out of these slumps that we're in. Starting with James K. Filing, here's an update here. It says, in the library case, a hearing on the motions for summary judgment and to strike library's expert report is scheduled for July 20th at 1 p.m. Do not know yet if there will be a call-in number. Thanks to Tom for the heads up. XRP Credible says, sounds like libraries losing to the SEC. Only Ripple and the XRP army can defeat the final big boss. Watchman says, I wish Ripple could donate a very large sum to the lawyers that could help turn the tables on the library case. It would be nice to see the SEC lose on two fronts, and I 100% agree. And there's been conversation about whatever happens within this library case, because litigation is going to end before, or they speculating that it's going to end before things end within the Ripple versus SEC case. So they were talking about, can things from the library case, transfer or carry over into the Ripple versus SEC case in regards of, say, the SEC wins in the library case, they can utilize some of the stuff that they've discovered or that they had won on in the Ripple case. So we're going to continue to follow the Ripple versus SEC case, the library versus SEC case, and kind of see how things carry over and how things transition when it comes to the final deliberation within these cases. I wanted to cover this tweet right here from Senator Pat Toomey. It says the SEC under Chairman Gensler has imposed enormous costs on investors with no legitimate rationale. So just right off the bat right there, automatically thinking about the XRP community personally. And I know a lot of us that are in the XRP community that's been undergoing this SEC lawsuit, which is completely done viciously. And they say, as we've been surfacing through all the Ethereum Free Pass stuff, the timeline, surfacing video footage and audio of, them in their own words with their shady acts and shady behavior, gloating about this free pass that they got, and just all the shady behavior with the so-called involved government officials or whatever the case is like, when I see this, I automatically think of the XRP community. But they're talking about, Senator Pat Toomey's talking about something here. He goes, the blanket rejection of numerous Bitcoin spot ETFs, despite the SEC's prior approvals of Bitcoin futures ETFs, demonstrates how this SEC has arbitrarily chosen to deny investors access to financial products. So let's talk about arbitrarily chosen winners and losers, picking winners or losers. And we're talking about what's going on with the XRP army, the Ripple versus SC case, and all the shady stuff that's been happening with that Ethereum free pass of them trying to create a monopoly with Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially Ethereum. But no, Senator Pat Toomey's talking about this Bitcoin ETF stuff. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. I don't know if Senator Pat Toomey has come out and spoken on the Ripple versus SC stuff and all the stuff that we've been servicing as a community. And it's not only stuff like this. And I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments, or I guess tweet at me and show me some stuff if I'm speaking out of term here. But I'm just kind of just sitting here trying to express, how frustrations comes about when it comes to us, as investors in XRP and the XRP army, and kind of being a part of this Ripple versus SEC class, or not a part of the actual case, but yeah, being a part of the class action lawsuit with Johnny Deaton and 68,000 plus, other XRP investors as well. But yeah, like you also have these so-called crypto industry, working groups that, claim to be, representing the entire industry, but they only talk about Bitcoin and possibly Ethereum, but mainly Bitcoin. It's like, where's all the voices and where's all the help when it comes to things that are happening right now? Obviously, there's a lot of denials and stuff with these spot Bitcoin ETFs from the SEC, but like, what about, Ripple? What about Library? What about all these other, BlockFi when they were undergoing a SEC investigation? What about all these other, blockchain projects or whatever cases and platforms where's all their support? Where's all the recognition at? Where's Congress at in regards of, opening an investigation behind all the shady conflicts of interest and all these behind closed door meetings and deals? Where's all that at? Senator Pat Toomey continues. He says, I'm pleased that the SEC's decision will now be subject to court review, and hope the court decides more Americans should have access to these new investment options. Quite honestly, I'm going to be pleased when, the truth comes out. And I highly doubt we're going to get the entire truth, especially when it comes to these so-called Heyman emails and these, the rest of these names of people involved in this whole Ethereum free pass stuff. I mean, I doubt we'll get the entire truth, but I'm going to be, quite happy whenever we do get these so-called pressure, when we have this not just continued pressure from Empower Oversight or Johnny Deaton in a class action lawsuit, but just pressure from higher powers that be, congressmen and women, and, opening investigations behind, whether it's Jay Clayton or William Hinman, or even just opening an investigation in regards of the Ethereum ICO and all the parties involved in that. Like, to really surface just the shady stuff that's been happening, because thousands and thousands and thousands of investors and their families have been affected by this careless, selfish acts that's been happening behind closed doors. It's absolutely crazy. And I know that was a long spiel, but kind of frustrated about that. Continuing on here, Johnny Deaton's he's responding to Jake Chervinsky here, and he has a tweet thread here that he had put up, but it says 5, except the SEC. We all saw the SEC's overt hostility towards crypto in H1, concluding with its unjustified denial of Grayscale's ETF conversion this week. Sadly, I expect it will get worse in H2. The SEC seems to be waging war. The SEC seems to be waging war on crypto on two fronts: rulemaking and enforcement. Waging war. That is crazy. And the SEC is supposed to be, looking out for the investors, the small, the investors investing into the space. But their acts are literally hurting investors. I mean, you have over 68,000 investors wanting to, go at them and apply pressure and sue for their rights, which is crazy. He says, I agree. We are at war. In March, I said the writing was on the wall and predicted Gary Gensler will file an enforcement action against an exchange or two within the next few months for selling unregistered securities. Unfortunately, this move will be welcomed by Bitcoin maxis. 100% agree on that. That's been quite evident. We've been seeing it. Digital asset investor. I was going to play this, but I don't think I'm going to play it. I'm kind of running deep here. We're currently 9 minutes and 50 seconds in, but Johnny Deaton, digital asset investors kind of point out something quite interesting here. And this is kind of how I've been thinking, with my time and experience in the market since late 2017, just kind of this whole crypto narrative and all the different narratives that are kind of thrown out there, whether we're in a bear market or bull market, there's always these narratives that you can kind of start seeing that there's a pattern by how they kind of coerce, or they kind of try to manipulate, as we talk about, like, this reality, utilizing certain words to, in a sense, I see it as like trying to get the sheep or the herd or, the retail investors, to kind of buy into one thing, but while they're doing the opposite type thing, He goes, pay attention to CNBC is really trying to sell this layman moment for crypto narrative. I've been through five plus of these crypto pullbacks, and this is not as bad as many others I've been through. There's reason the mainstream media is selling this as a failed experiment. Yeah, I mean, there's some sort of coordinated agenda that's been activated as of recently, especially with this massive pullback, as you will, or sell off in our market. Continuing on from Blockworks says Voyager to temporarily suspend trading deposits, withdrawals, and loyalty rewards. Stephen, I think it's Elrich, says Voyagers today we made the difficult decision to temporarily suspend trading deposits, withdrawals, and loyalty rewards. So you can read more. I think I had tweeted the updated article or whatever they had put out. So go ahead, and if you have assets on Voyager stuff, I highly recommend you update yourself on what's going on. I wanted to cover this from Jeremy Hogan's responding to Yasan here. It says a company that paid the SEC $100 million in fees is being sold for $25 million. Let that be a lesson to those who succumb to SEC extortion racket. And then Jeremy Hogan goes, I won't pay. I know too much about extortion, Tony Soprano. Coming out here, XRP Crypto says, by when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. And that's from the Rothschild. The thing is, it's quite interesting that this is a thing. Like, why Johnny Deaton, whenever, even when Coinbase wanted to throw out their Lend product and they got, pretty much threatened by the SEC, Gary Gensler and the SEC, Johnny Deaton was just like, hey, you should do A, B, and C, D, or whatever the case is, and, take the fight to them. But it's like, why are there so much putting their tail between their legs and kind of cowering? Like, is there because there's shady stuff happening and they don't want things to be surfaced? Or is it just the fear of not being able to win against the government, the SEC? I wonder why these massive blockchain companies and companies in general that have capital, why would they, just settle, instead of just bringing the fight to them? Just like, Ripple has, or even Library, trying their best to bring the fight to the SEC. I've always been curious about that, especially through, the past year and a half. This from Bitcoin Archive says, just a new spot Bitcoin ETF application filed by VanEck. I love this emoji right here. Or this GIF right here. Someone says, persistence is the key. So, we've been waiting for a spot Bitcoin ETF for some time. There's been a lot of rejections and denials. Obviously, one of the massive ones, the Grayscale one. And we know Grayscale is, has started the filing to sue the SEC for its denial. But, who knows? Is Van going to be the one to get it? I highly doubt it. I wouldn't waste my breath, but just an update right there. And I wanted to end on this one from Ben Armstrong. I was about to say Brian Armstrong. BitBoy Crypto is Ben Armstrong. Says, we spoke with a very high-level officer for a major crypto project. And let me tell you, the money about to flow into Web3 is going to be insane. I still expect lower prices following the midterms, but you need to be prepared to accumulate like your life depends on it. So I'm going to start with Tim here. Tim says, oh God, not the high-powered source again. So look, there's a lot of people that feel indifferent about, Ben from BitBoy Crypto, the massive YouTube channel and community that he has. A lot of people feel indifferent about it. Here's kind of how I think about things. I don't just, go off of what, my favorite YouTubers or, you could say, my favorite my favorite, Twitter handle or Twitter account or whatever the case is. I kind of try to take in a lot of different information in regards of, a lot of people, different viewpoints, just to kind of see how they're thinking about things, how they're thinking things through the market, whether it's their investment strategy or just their experience of time in the market, going through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of the market. I kind of try to take in as much information as I can, and then I instill my own research and my own, I guess you say I vet, certain projects or assets or whatever the case is myself. And then I just internalize as much as I want to retain in and discard what I don't like and formulate my own thought process or my own narrative or my own investment strategy, when it comes to this crypto market. So regardless of whether this is true or not, I just kind of use this as almost like a let's just say a resource, information like this. Obviously, Ben's a very successful man, has a very successful YouTube channel, has been in crypto for some time. I think he's been in it before me. I think it was like 2015, 2016. I was late 2017. So, and his portfolio speaks for itself and all that other stuff, right? For what we've seen. He's not perfect. He hasn't invested perfect just like the rest of us, but I just take it as kind of like I take it with a grain of salt, if you will, and take in what I like, discard what I don't like. But a lot of people out here that kind of just throw a lot of shade at Ben and BitBoy Crypto. He tries to do a lot of good things. No one's perfect. Some things I don't agree with him with. Some things I do agree with him with. But I think this whole negative stuff that comes out within like Twitter, you can go through there. There's a lot of negativity that comes just in general to some of the stuff he says. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it, as like, oh, this is the doctrine. This is the way it needs to be. Utilize it as a resource and formulate your own opinion. That's just kind of what I'm trying to say. I know I was spilling a lot, talking a lot, but that's kind of like my take on kind of what's going on right now. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on, but I felt like this was some of the major topics that I wanted to have a conversation on. Make sure you subscribe to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel. Come down, go to Twitter and follow us at Crypto's Key 1 as well. We're excited to continue to bring you more content and grow both of these accounts. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.